Popular Hollywood actors Kurt Russell and Kevin Costner played versions of real-life lawman Wyatt Earp in the 1993-1994 film series, which took place 6 months apart. Russell performed in the highly regarded group Western Tombstone, while Costner portrayed the lead role in Lawrence Kasdan's Wyatt Earp. Both critically and commercially, Tombstone outperformed Wyatt Earp, earning $56 million globally compared to $25 million for the latter, Box Office Mojo. On Rotten Tomatoes, Tombstone scored higher critical scores, 73% versus 31%, but the more pertinent question is which actor, Russell or Costner, did a better job portraying Wyatt Earp. After all, Russell's impressive effort is overshadowed by Val Kilmer's portrayal of Doc Holliday in Tombstone. In the meantime, Costner, who plays Wyatt Earp's main character, controls almost every frame in the second half. A closer examination of Russell and Costner's interpretations of Wyatt Earp will reveal who embodied the infamous lawman more convincingly, even though it's not exactly a 1-1 comparison. Wyatt Earp. Who is he? Let's take a brief look at the real-life lawman Wyatt Earp before comparing the performances of the two actors. Wyatt Earp, who was born in Illinois in 1848, moved out west and established himself as a law enforcement officer for gambling in Dodge City, Kansas, Deadwood, South Dakota, and Tombstone, Arizona. Earp's reputation developed due to his brother Virgil Earp's role in the notorious shootout at the OK Corral in 1881. Virgil Earp was a Tombstone City Marshal and Deputy U.S. Marshal. In 1878, while tracking an outlaw in Texas, Earp befriended a gunslinging gambler named John Doc Holliday, who ended up being his best buddy. Earp says that shortly after they met in Texas, Holliday saved his life, despite the fact that Holliday famously developed tuberculosis. Both Wyatt Earp and Tombstone examine their connection, but the former has been praised for being more historically accurate. Both movies feature Earp's siblings as well as his long-standing rivalry with the Clanton and McClory brothers. Even though the two films cover comparable ground, Wyatt Earp is portrayed by one actor better than the other. What's the deal with Tombstone? The Tombstone narrative starts in Mexico in 1879, wasting little time. A criminal cowboy by the name of Curly Bill, Powers Booth, massacres multiple police officers during a wedding. Retired lawman Wyatt Earp, Russell, moves to Tombstone, Arizona, with his brothers Morgan, Bill Paxton, and Virgil, Sam Elliott. Wyatt meets up with his old friend Doc Holliday, Kilmer, in town. Doc's tuberculosis symptoms have gotten worse. To Wyatt's great dismay, Maddie Blaylock, Dana Wheeler Nicholson, his common-law wife, has developed an opium addiction. Wyatt and his brothers make money in the meantime by staking a claim on the neighborhood gaming establishment and saloon. Curly Bill murders Fred White, Harry Carey Jr., depriving Tombstone of a marshal. Following Wyatt's arrest of Bill for the crime, infamous criminals Ike Clanton, Stephen Lang, Billy Clanton, Thomas Hayden Church, and the other cowboys take vengeance. Due to a dearth of witnesses, Curly Bill is found not guilty in court, and Virgil takes over as marshal and imposes a ban on guns. The main climactic action set piece in Tombstone, the gunfight at the OK Corral, is instigated by the firearms restriction. Russell can act with great boldness and excel in the gunfight because of it. Additionally, it allows Russell to react to Morgan's murder and Virgil's serious injuries with genuine sadness. Examining Costner's Wyatt Earp will help set the two performances apart before going over Russell's best moments in Tombstone. What's up with Wyatt Earp? Wyatt Earp, written and directed by Lawrence Kasdan, is more of a cradle-to-grave biography that follows the life of the titular character. In the Western epic, Costner portrays the mature version of the character, while Ian Bohen plays the teenage version during the Civil War years. Tombstone immerses audiences in the gripping action in Arizona while showcasing Wyatt Earp's skill as a gunfighting lawman. In contrast, Wyatt Earp feels more like an origin narrative, rambling through the character's life for an excessively long time. If Costner had portrayed the portions of Earp's tale that were left out of Tombstone, that would be one thing. However, comparing the two shows, Wyatt Earp comes across as an oversized reenactment of some of Tombstone's most thrilling and memorable episodes. Costner, for example, doesn't really get going in his portrayal of Earp until he runs into Mayor Winningham's character Matty Blaylock, Dennis Quaid's character Doc Holliday, Dave Rudabaugh's character while pursuing him through Texas, the gunfight at the OK Corral, and the Clantons, Jeff Fahey and Gabriel Folse, and McClory's Rex Linn and Adam Baldwin, which are all handled with much more dramatic intensity in Tombstone. With Costner's mediocre performance unable to elevate the material, even the supporting Earp siblings, James, David Andrews, Morgan, Lyndon Ashby, and Virgil, Michael Madsen, felt redundant in comparison to Tombstone. What seems like a drawn-out and tedious task to sit through cannot be saved, not even by the legendary Gene Hackman in the role of Nicholas Earp, Earp's father. Noting this in 1994, eminent American cinema reviewer Roger Ebert wrote in his Wyatt Earp review, "Wyatt Earp performs as though they filled Tombstone to the brim with hot air. There is less drama and intensity, but a lot of the same characters and storyline are present. It's an aimless, meandering history of Wyatt Earp, Kevin Costner, charting his transformation from a shy would-be lawyer to a sly gunslinger, beginning when he was a small child. In a 3-hour movie, this is a lengthy voyage that requires better pacing." Although Tombstone has been said to be the better film, Russell and Costner's roles in both films are more closely examined. Is Costner or Russell a better Wyatt Earp actor? Kurt Russell is the movie's main protagonist, even though Val Kilmer has received the most accolades for his ostentatious performance in Tombstone. Russell portrays a man with underlying goodness who serves as the moral compass for viewers, guiding them through a chaotic maze of brutal crime and bloodshed. He not only extols the noble qualities of a peace officer, but it is also evident how tormented he is by his wife's addiction and his brother's passing. Furthermore, since Tombstone came out 6 months ahead of Wyatt Earp, everything that is seen in the former movie, including Russell's performance, feels more recent. Russell is also given a lot more to accomplish in Tombstone than Costner gets in Wyatt Earp, which is notable for its fierce action. Aside from the valiant bravery displayed in OK Corral, Russell is given further screen time when Earp gathers up the posse in Tombstone prior to the big finale. Earp gathers a motley crew of gunslingers and declares himself the new Tombstone Marshal, only to be ambushed by Curly Bill's men moments later. After a terrifying shootout, Curly Bill is killed, and Morgan's death is avenged by Earp. When Bill's replacement calls Earp for one more confrontation, he honors his friend Doc Holliday with a heartfelt nod by following his relationship counsel. Russell gives Earp a vibrant, multicolored painting that is both tough and sensitive at the same time. Regretfully, Kevin Costner falls beyond this category. Costner's portrayal of Wyatt Earp feels like a hollow mirror image of Russell's because of the repetition of material and the timing of Earp's release, a false impression. Costner's portrayal of Earp as an adult receives less attention than it should since too much time is devoted to examining Earp's early years as an adolescent. The impact of Costner's performances is weakened because they frequently center on scenes that are already shown in Tombstone. In addition, Costner's portrayal of Earp feels a lot like his many performances in Western films, like Kasdan's Silverado, Dances with Wolves, Open Range, Hatfields and McCoys, Yellowstone, Horizon, etc., even though he is portraying a real-life Wild West figure. On the other hand, Russell's portrayal of Earp in Tombstone is strikingly dissimilar from his roles in Quentin Tarantino's horror western Bone Tomahawk, where he also portrays a formidable law enforcement officer, and the revisionist western The Hateful Eight. Russell told GQ in 2024 that he purposefully approached Costner and Kasdan to explore each actor being in the other's Wyatt Earp movie, even though that had little relevance on Wyatt Earp or Tombstone. The plan was for Russell to murder Costner in Wyatt Earp and Costner to murder Russell in Tombstone. When Kasdan angrily rejected the notion and said, "I'm going to take you on, full force, full frontal nudity," Russell grew very agitated. "Come on, let's go. Wyatt Earp will now come into your path." Rather, 6 months after its publication, Wyatt Earp encountered Tombstone and was largely panned both critically and monetarily. Not every great movie has a great performance in it, but in the instance of Tombstone, Russell's portrayal of Wyatt Earp is more interesting and convincing than Costner's, even if the film is an ensemble.